Jacob Collier is basically a production company with musicians, arrangers, composers, producers, and vocalists, condensed into one rather small Englishman. Unquestionably one of the most advanced musicians in today's music scene, Jacob Collier released this song, With the Love in My Heart, as the first single from his 2018 Jest Volume 1 album. We have two things to discuss in this song, so I'll start with the intro. Classic groupings.
I got no wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sky above, no help below, no wind behind, no path before, no chains around, no fear within, but with the love in my heart, so when I found.
This vocal melody is a group of 9. So here are 9 slots, and these are the notes within the 9 that the vocals sing in.
I got no wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sky above, no help below, no wind behind, no path before, no chains around, no fear within.
This motif returns later on in the song in quite a cool way. This 9 grouping is actually the tip of a small 9 pyramid. Check it out. So we have our vocal line, which is in 9/16 as we said before, and we have 8 of those.
No wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no breeze to blow, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sea to sail, no sky above, no hell below.
Under those 8 repetitions, we have 2 repetitions of the harmony in 9/4. The first part is D over E, and the second part is some kind of D add 9 over G, I think. If you're looking for harmonic accuracy, you're in the wrong place. Under that, we have one giant bar of 9/2, 9/2. How do you even say that? Never mind. Played by the drums and the bass. The first groove is in half time, and the second one is in regular time. So basically it's a 9 fest, with 3 versions of 9 played simultaneously.
No wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no breeze to blow, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sea to sail, no sky above, no hell below, no wind behind, no path before, no place to hide, no lust to find, no chains around, no fear within, no wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no breeze to blow, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sea to sail, no sky above, no hell below, no wind behind, no path before, no place to hide, no lust to find, no chains around, no fear within, no wings to fly, no song to sing, no hand to hold, no star to guide, no breeze to blow, no tears to cry, no fire to burn, no sea to sail, no sky above, no hell below, no wind behind, no path before, no place to hide, no lust to find, no chains around, no fear within. But with the love of my heart, somehow I found you.
Cool stuff, huh? Okay, let's break down that drum thing, shall we?
But with the love of my heart, somehow I found you. But with the love of my heart, somehow I found you.
So you know this groove, right? Kick, snare, kick, snare. I mean, of course you know, it's the groove from that song, what's it called? All of them. This sequence of equally spaced notes, kick, snare, is so embedded into our brains that when presented to us, we automatically assume those beats to be the main pulses. So the kick will be the downbeat and the snare would be the backbeat, especially in the Western music environment. And this is exactly what's happening here. We have a sequence of almost entirely evenly spaced hits that create this illusion of a steady pulse. And if we count it, we get to 5. In his live shows, he even claps alongside the audience in this fake but very implied 5. The hits are spaced apart kinda evenly. I mean, at least evenly enough for our brains to forgive these slight deviations. So while this groove sounds like it's 5 in quintuplets, it's actually a 7/4 in 16 notes. Now, let's look at where the kick and snare are positioned within the 7. Forget about the hi-hat for a second. Look at the spacings between the hits. 6 subbeats, then 5, 6, 6, and 2 and 3, which make 5. We're alternating between 5s and 6s, which are very close numbers. And in this tempo, they're almost interchangeable. You can barely notice the difference between them. The last, and arguably most important element, is the hi-hat. A brief breakdown of the musical roles within a drum groove. Typically, we have 3 elements: the low, the mid, and the high. The kick, the low, and the snare, the mid, are usually responsible for the personality or the character of the groove. The hi-hat, which is the high, obviously, is more of like an organizer. So the hi-hat determines how this groove is perceived. Think of chicken and vegetables, for example. Not that kind of chicken, the tasty version. Yep, that. Now, if I cut them up and put them in a bowl, you can call it a chicken salad, right? But if I skewer them, suddenly you're gonna call it a kebab. I mean, it's the same ingredients, but the way I organize them changes the way they are perceived. Listen to the differences. This is the groove played with the hi-hat supporting the 5/4 illusion. And this is the groove supporting the actual meter in 7/4. The only thing I've changed is the hi-hat, so the kick and snare stay at the same place. The hi-hat does all the difference. Great, but one last thing. If the groove is actually in 7/4 in 16 notes, that means we have 28 subbeats per bar. If the illusion results in a 5/4 bar in quintuplets, that means we have 25 subbeats per bar. So we're missing 3 beats. Where did those 3 subbeats go? There's a big trend amongst musicians, specifically from the jazz, hip-hop, and R&B realm, towards this new kind of groove. People call it the J Dilla groove, quintuplet swing, Questlove style, laid-back, unquantized beats, or basically everything Chris Dave does. These grooves blur the rhythmic line of the subdivision and introduce this elasticity kind of thing that comes as a refreshing contrast to the mega-produced, perfect-sounding music that we get from the pop world. A musician like Jacob Collier, who understands the rhythmic potential these grooves have, can construct it in a way that blurs the groove enough, kind of, to compensate for those 3 lost beats. The result is this wobbly, elastic-sounding groove. This wobbliness is also why when people hear this groove, they all go like... So if you put a click track to this groove, it may sound off at the beginning because of that wobbly effect I talked about. But listen to how nicely it flows to the next part.
He said, I need somebody who understands my soul. nowhere to go. And I don't.
Intense stuff.